Hi guys, welcome back to another clip of Schach-manuel-lernen. Today we continue with our winter season classical chess games. So I had the wrong side, I had the black pieces and I played a Sicilian opening, and here white decided for something special that is unknown. I never saw it. It's c3. Like, what you know is when you play c4, that's the Marocci system, but c3 is a bit more passive and not really dangerous. So I played queen c7, and after knight f3 I had already a good feeling, simply because I have two pieces developed and white just one. So I continue my development, and after castle, queen e2, I had different options in mind here. Like, one was d5, one was e5, with the idea of d6 and bishop g4. And here I calculated correctly. It's also the most ambitious move, d5. And after d5, the continuation could be something like e5, knight to g4. So we attack here on e5, which forces rook e1. Rook e1 has the downside of this one. So rook e1 would be a mistake. Instead, bishop f4. And then we have, a game after f6. He decided for a different approach. He decided to capture here, which is an inaccuracy, because after recapturing with the pawn, my bishop has some air, and the queen is a bit misplaced for attacking. That's why he played queen c2. And here I had two candidate moves, rook e8 and bishop g4. I decided for the wrong one, like bishop g4 would have been the better one. Why? I show you quickly a line. Like, after bishop g5, I calculated it's not really working because capturing, but apparently this is already completely winning for black. Why? We recapture the pawn, we recapture, and now I marked it here. Like, this diagonal is undefendable, and it's because this knight is still there. So queen f4 would be the move. If he does anything besides trying the queen trade, we will play bishop d6 with the threatening of checkmate on h2. If he plays queen d2, queen h4, and this threat is still unstoppable, which is really, crazy. I didn't see it at all during the game, this idea, because I calculated, after capture here, I don't have a lot, but apparently this diagonal is enough to win the game. Other option would be like this one, but then this bishop is passive, so that's why bishop g4 would have been the best move. I played rook e8, and after bishop g5, knight e4, establishing the knight here, and after knight b3 I played bishop d6, h3, and now here I decided to liquidate the position into an endgame. How did I do that? Capturing here, and now the wonderful move, knight to b4. The idea is we have here a double attack, which means if the queen retreats somewhere, we just will win a piece. If he captures here, which happened in the game, I can capture here the queen. He has to capture there. And after recapturing here, we have the 2 bishops against the 2 knights. And I said, okay, this endgame I will play because it's much easier to play with for me and I have a small advantage. Knight d4, bishop g6, a3 to protect the pawn here. And now I played this move to be on another open file. The idea that the computer has, I also saw it in the game, just a bit later, like bishop e7, and after that bishop f6, and then we have these 2 wonderful bishops who are strong on these 2 squares. So I played this one, knight retreated, a6, rook fc1, king f8, g3, bishop. So it's a bit a couple of moves. And now comes a interesting move from my opponent. Like he tries to double the rooks on the c file. However, I was like, okay, I can capture. And after that, I had the move a5. a5 is not the best move, according to the computer. But the idea is if he captures here, then it weakens his pawn structure. If he doesn't capture, I can capture. And then he can't recapture with that because of the pin. And this pin will be relevant a bit later. He played knight to d2, and I was like, okay, now let's win a pawn. So I captured there. He captures my bishop, I recapture, and after capturing, I captured. He can't capture because then I will win material on the spot. So here we have 2 moves for white. It's already a bit advanced. It's knight to b5, which protects the pawn, or rook b1. I quickly show you the difference between these 2 moves. After rook b1, I can capture there, knight e2, and then he attacks the bishop and the pawn. And let's say if I just retreat, he will capture here. And now I still have a slight advantage, of course, because of the extra pawn. But this is really hard to win, and objectively, I guess, by best play, it's a draw. Because all the pawns are on one side. In the game, it happened a bit different. He played knight to b5. And now these 2 pawns are remaining on the board, which is in favor of the bishop, when the pawns are on both sides. King f1, f5, then king e2, rook a1, with the idea to infiltrate here, or later on a1. So king e7 activating, knight c7, rook a1, h4 g6, knight e5, another check. And now I activated my king. All of his pawns are on the black square, which is the same like my bishop. Then, rook d2, b6, because if we're not careful, we will lose our bishop. That's why b6. And here we reached move 40, which means here was the time control. And approximately here he offered a draw, and I was like, I refused it, because I really have a risk-free position. Like I can't lose it, and I just wanted to win. So rook b1. The idea now was bishop a3 to trade the rooks at the right moment. So bishop a3, check, goes back. So he just waited. I show you also quickly here a line, computer line. bishop c5, and after check I should have played rook c1, and after that h6. And now we have a wonderful position with a Zugzwang, because doesn't matter which move he does, it's just losing. Like, let's say knight f4, g5, gives a check, and then he loses a pawn. The king can't move. If the rook moves, we will either win the knight or something else. If the knight moves, we will win the pawn. If any of the pawn moves, we will win material as well. But I played g5 because I tried something. And after rook c2, king g4, knight e6, now I decided for the rook trade. And here he played c4, so putting the pawn on a white square. Bishop e5, king, h5, and now we have already moved 50. So as you can imagine, it was already a long game. Here he decided for liquidating the pawns, and so I did that. And here we have now a wonderful move which gives us the final advantage. Bishop captures g3. The idea is if he would recapture, we have 3 pawns against the knight, but the problem for him is my active king and this pawn. That's why he didn't recapture. He played king e2, and now I will go a bit forward because I just pushed my pawns. After king f3 there was a small trick. He gives the check, and now we have to be careful. It would be a terrible mistake to capture there, because suddenly it will be a draw, or really drawish. Because white has this nice defending move, knight captures here. And as you can see, if I would recapture with the pawn, it's a stalemate, out of the blue. So there I had to be careful. That's why I went back with the king, and afterwards bishop c3, and then I advanced. Here as well, being careful. If I play this, we lose this pawn. So bishop f6, and then king f3, bishop d4. Now we're winning this pawn, and after a couple of more moves, he resigned after 67 moves and 5 hours of playing time. So I was really dead after this game. Was really exhausting, but really, really happy that I won. And yeah, the team also won, so it was a perfect day, I would say so. And yeah, with this interesting game, I wish you a wonderful weekend. Stay healthy and have fun by your own chess games. See you soon, guys.